Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and welcome back to another live stream. Unfortunately, another day where we don't have any matches to look forward to just yet, but instead an opportunity to look ahead to the future and transfer business, because you would imagine this will be another big summer for Manchester United to get some signings right. You do just have to excuse me 1 second. I'm just looking down because we're having some technical difficulties this morning. Do let me know in the chat if this is working for you, because OBS tried to stop us streaming a couple of times, so it may have bugged a little bit. Just let me know. But yes, the plan for today is to look at some of the players that Manchester United have been linked with ahead of this summer, to figure out which ones are actually any good, which ones we actually want to bring into the club. Are they worth signing? Are they fantastic players that we should definitely sign? Are they players that we should maybe avoid, or they're good but not what we need? That is the plan for today. Because as we've discussed quite a lot recent weeks, that's the wrong thing, but as we've discussed quite a lot in recent weeks, when we have gone through the Manchester United starting 11, we've found it a little bit difficult to make a perfectly balanced team. For example, we go Lomans in goal and we figure out the rest of it in front of them. But there's certain things that don't quite click. Manchester United certainly need new signings this summer. So that is the plan for today's stream, if I can get over here. Callum, would you mind dropping an @ everyone in the Discord, please? Because I don't think notifications have worked on the stream, if you wouldn't mind. If you guys are in the stream right now and you are watching, could you just drop a comment to let me know if it is actually working for you? Because like I said, I tried to stream and I kept getting error messages pop up. So then there was like 6 versions of the stream all at once. So I want to check that we are in the right place. I can now see Steve in the chat as well. So that suggests we are working. So yeah, basically, it's as simple as that, really. That is the plan for today, to go through a load of different players that United have been linked with. There's a chance I've missed some. There's a chance there's some players here that I've completely forgotten about. But these are most of the players that I can recall United being linked with just at some point, really, over the past 6 months. These are the players that I can recall seeing. If I have missed any, I do apologise. But what we're going to do is just going to go through all of them and put them in one of these tiers for how good we actually think they are. Because I see on Twitter us getting linked with all of these players, but rarely do we have the chance to, first of all, give my opinion on a lot of them, but also for you guys to have your say as well. So that is the plan for today. What do we think of the tiers, first thing? At the bottom, we've got avoid. Then we've got not what we need, which means they might be a good player, but not really what United need currently. Then we've got squad option. Then we've got definitely improves the team. And then we've got sign him at all costs. Do we like those tiers, or does that need to be tinkered with a little bit? Also, good morning to everybody who is now joining the stream. Lovely to see you all. Hope you're all well. How are we without Manchester United? It's long, right? It's long not watching Manchester United Football Club play matches. I know we've been saying it all season long, but we cannot have another campaign next season where we play once a week. It is absolute torture. Even when United aren't playing well, just having to wait 10 days at a time for Manchester United to play is an absolute nightmare. I cannot wait for next season. We've got Villa coming up this weekend, and then we've got another game quickly after that. But then after that, again, we've got a massive break again. It's so many games without playing. I absolutely hate it. I have to say, I am worried that this summer is going to be a disappointment when we go for Anderson, Tonali, Wharton, and we end up with the 3rd and 4th choice players. Shall we get into looking at some of who those players would be? Now, I don't really have a specific order, really, that I want to go through these players. We could go by position, but that might be a little bit boring. So I think we are just going to start off with a couple of players that I have seen linked in January that I didn't like. One of those was Wilfred Ndidi. He was linked with the club in January. No, thank you. Just no, thank you. He is not what we need. At the time, we were being linked because Kobbie Mainoo was going to go out on loan. Like, that's the world that we were living in just a couple of months ago. Ndidi is a no, thank you from me. And then we've also got Loftus-Cheek as well, who, again, was linked in January and is just not a player, really, that I want. Does anyone disagree? I don't think they don't do enough for me. Sure, Loftus-Cheek might be good as a squad option, but come on. Is that really what we want? That Newcastle performance was so boring. Yeah, that's the thing. If we're going to go so long without games, they've got to be good when we have them. And the last couple haven't been, and that makes it even more difficult. It's why just anything to do with United right now is just dry. Just no one cares at the moment because there's nothing really to talk about. We have 2 games between now and the 11th of April. I mean, that's just absurd, isn't it? Absolutely absurd. It's mental. Of course, that's international break as well in there. It's not simply because United are out of competitions. But I'm genuinely sitting here jealous of the other teams that are constantly playing every couple of weeks. Sorry, every couple of weeks I'm jealous because we're not playing and they are. It's very, very frustrating as a man who just wants to watch Manchester United play football. Anyway, yeah, Ndidi and Loftus-Cheek, we saw them both linked in January. Not players that I want at all. An interesting one that I want to discuss is Anthony Gordon. Now, what I might do is I might add an extra column in. I might add a row below where we can just... Oh, that didn't work. Where we can just discuss them. I might do that, and I need to now get rid of that one. But this is where I'm going to put them just while we discuss. So sometimes people get a little bit confused because I put them somewhere and they're not there. So Anthony Gordon, discuss, thoughts, what do we reckon? David, good morning to you, my friend. Lovely to see you with a gifted membership. As always, guys, you know what to do. Love hearts for David in the chat because he is an absolute icon. David, how is the move going, mate? Are you fully settled in yet, or are you still going through the bags and boxes of stuff? Personally, if they don't fit in the top 2 brackets, we should not sign them at all. Squad option is not good enough right now. I think generally speaking, that's how I look at transfer business. You know, I think there's different ways you can build a squad. You can sign those players who are a tier below and in a few years are going to be good for you. Or you can sign world-class players who kick your current players out of the 11. There's sort of 2 ways that you can do it. One is definitely a lot cheaper than the other. I think the optimal balance is something in between. I think generally speaking, we should be looking for starters. But I do think there is a certain type of player, particularly in midfield, where we need so many, you know, that a squad option signing doesn't hurt us, is what I think. Rare hot take from me is that Anthony Gordon is overrated as hell. Yeah, I think he is. I think he has become overrated. I think he went from being really underrated a couple of years ago. I really liked Gordon. Big fan of him. I do now think he's overrated. I think he's a good footballer. I think he's a good player. I think England should probably use him a bit more than what they do. But does he get the goal output that you really want? Probably not. I like him. I just don't think he's what we need. I don't know that we need another player who is amazing with large spaces running off the ball. We've got Mbumo, we've got Sesko. Do we need another one of those players? Probably not. He's a good footballer, but I want someone who perhaps is a little bit better 1-versus-1 in the dribble, where I think Gordon can be a little bit predictable. He's not amazingly creative. If you check his stats for this season, you know, he's not exactly racking up the assists. So I think he's a good player, but probably not what we want, right? Probably not. Did look promising, but I feel like he's been found out a bit and would be expensive. Yeah, I mean, for the England under-21s, his best football has actually come as a striker, and his best form for Newcastle this season has been up front as well. So the move has been tiring, to say the least. Unpacking is still going on, never ends. In 5 years, I reckon he'll finally be moved in and unpacked. Gordon is Newcastle's Garnacho. See, I think Gordon's a much better player than what Garnacho is, but I do see the comparison in terms of profile. The great thing with Gordon, though, is that he can play wide. You know, we don't have that at the club currently, and he does work incredibly hard and things like that. I just don't think he's what we need. I don't think he's what we want. Alex, good morning to you, my friend, and Steve as well. Good to see you both. Hope you are well. We're just basically waffling about some of the players that United have been linked with. Should we stay on the theme of Newcastle for a couple of moments? Because I've got 5 Newcastle players here that we've been linked with. I guess these links are happening because Newcastle aren't doing very well in the league, and United are hopefully going to be in the top 5. So, you know, it does feel like an opportunity where you might be able to go and take one of them. So let's have a chat. Lewis Hall. You know what, we'll put them all in discussion real quick. So we've got Hall, we've got Thiaw, who's the centre-back, we've got Bruno Guimaraes, the midfielder, and of course Tonali, who has been linked a lot as well. Now, I don't really want to talk about Newcastle players because they beat us last time out, but that's also why I do want to talk about them, because I hate Newcastle and I want to take their best players. And these 5 are some of their best. So, what do we reckon? What do we reckon to these guys? Who are you taking? AJ, are you telling us we will buy at least 6 players? I'm telling you I have no idea how many players we will sign. But if it was me, I would be looking at minimum 5. We done 4 last summer. Plus, we're going to be playing more games this season than what we were last year. Plus, we're probably going to sell some players again. So, yeah. Hopefully, minimum 5. Now, a couple of these, right, could go in sign him, couldn't they? Obviously, we put Gordon in, not what we need right now. I think Bruno Guimaraes is one of the best midfielders on the planet. I've said it for a long time. Is there just a question mark over his age? Is there just a question mark on his age? But as a footballer, I think he's incredible. And 29, in my opinion, is not too old to sign. I just know Ineos supposedly won under 27. But Guimaraes can have a lot of years at the top level, I still think. He's such a good player. He's remarkable. Remarkable. So good. Tonali is another one who goes... Tonali actually maybe goes above Guimaraes simply because of Tonali's sort of fitness record being that little bit younger as well, that availability. Tonali is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He's so good. I don't know. I don't think that's the Ineos model. You're saying you don't think 29 is the Ineos model, or you don't think under 27 is the Ineos model? Bruno Guimaraes' age is an issue. That's why I said he will improve the team, but only for a few years. I guess the question would be the price on Guimaraes. You don't want to spend 100 million if you're getting 5 years. Although 5 years out of a player of his level is a lot. You know, at 29, he can go to 34, can't he? He can go to 34, you would imagine. He's sort of been a little bit of a late bloomer, really, in his career. 5 years? I think you get it out of him. I think Alex has sort of made a comparison there to Casemiro and the age he was when we signed him. I do just think you get a different type with Guimaraes. I don't think you'd see him physically fall off in the way that Casemiro did. Just a different type of player. Guimaraes has always been a bit more nimble. The price is the concern for me. But if I could sign a midfielder and take 2 years off them and put them in the United team, it would be Guimaraes, end of conversation. Simple as that. Simple as that. Does that age become a problem, or is it fine? It'll be similar to Casemiro, in my opinion. 3 to 4 years at this level, then he'll decline. See, that's where I think the question is price, because 4 years of peak Guimaraes, we win a Premier League title in that time. Quite definitely possible. You could win the Champions League in that time with 3 to 4 years worth of signings and progress and growth. I think you could. And then you sell him after that. You let him go after that. Are you guys too worried about his price? João Gomez is good. João Gomez is, yeah, a good player. We will come on to him at some point. All right, keep letting me know your thoughts on Guimaraes. I think Tonali, a lot of people are sold on. How about Hall and Thiaw? Now, I think Thiaw's a really good centre-back. Really good centre-back. And the reason why I've put him here is, one, because we've been linked, but also he is a Premier League proven player. And I do think we need a centre-back this summer. I know so many people don't think we do. Because, sure, we've got 5 good centre-backs. We have. But between them, they've missed over 45 games this season. You know, they're not available. They're not reliable. So I don't care how good they are at football. They're not any good if they're not on the pitch. So I think we need a centre-back. I'd be selling one of Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt, Maguire. We can have the conversation of which one you want to let go. We'll have that conversation another day, perhaps. But I would be moving on a centre-back this summer, because we can't have 3 that are experienced options. We can't have 3 that don't play football. It's no use. So we need to remove one and bring someone else in my opinion. Is Thiaw really that good? Am I missing something? Again, it's an age thing. He's not someone that... Sorry, so it's a price thing. He's not someone that I would go and throw loads of money at, but I think he's a better option than what we've got currently on the ball. Balance-wise, I can see him next to Eleni Yoro, forming quite a nice partnership. He's strong in the air, he's good in the air, but a bit more competent on the ball than some of our options, perhaps. I love Bruno Guimaraes as well for that CDM spot, but if we can get Tonali and Anderson, it would be perfect. Okay, so where should we... Should we put Guimaraes in? Definitely improves the team, simply because some people are concerned about his age and his injury record. So, you know, if we were to sign him, he'd definitely improve our 11, but people aren't desperate for him as much as I am. Thiaw, I think, it definitely improves the team. I think he does improve our centre-back depth. And then Hall. Where are you guys putting Hall? Where are we putting him? Is Hall definitely improves the team, or is he signing him? Quality-wise, he's signed him. He's so good at football. So good at football. There's a couple of concerns I have. One is the injury record. Concerning. Really concerning, to be honest. A little bit of a Luke Shaw 2.0. The other concern is a physicality thing. Now, that's not a him problem. It's a rest of the team problem. Lewis Hall's a great footballer, but in the air, if you were to put him next to Lisandro Martinez, I would be a little bit worried. However, if you put Hall next to De Ligt and Thiaw, let's say, as an example, then I wouldn't even hesitate. I would throw everything to bring Lewis Hall into the club. But the injury record is a concern. This is the Lisandro Martinez shaped problem we've got, right? And we're going to have that conversation at some point. At some point, we have to bring it up. Because on the ball, he is unrivaled. Unrivaled. He's so good. But he doesn't play regularly enough. He's always injured. And his profile is so difficult to build around with the other players that you put around him. It is a problem that we're going to have to discuss at some point. We're going to have that conversation eventually. For now, should we put him in definitely improves the team just because we're a little bit concerned about the injuries? If not for his injury record, I would sign Hall in the heartbeat. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Corey, good morning, mate. How are you? Long time no see, my friend. We already have 3 young left-backs, Dorgu, Amas, and Leon. Who goes away? See, this is, again, where we've got a Dorgu problem since the change of system. Is Dorgu a left-back? Something that we need to try and figure out. Or is he going to be more of a winger in this system like we saw at the start under Carrick? I'm not sure. And Amas and Leon just aren't there at the moment. Leon looks a bit away, to be honest, still. Amas, I think he'll be on loan again next season, to be honest. I also think we will see 1 more year of Luke Shaw at the club, and then we'll let his contract go out, is what I think. If you buy a monster midfielder in front of them in a double pivot, then that will compensate for Lich's height issue. To an extent, yeah. To an extent. But say if you've got a short left back and a short left centre back, no matter who you sign in midfield, teams will go long to that side of the pitch. There's no doubt about it. They obviously would. For example, if we were playing against that, if we were previewing a game where they've got Lewis Hall and then Lisandro Martinez and we've got Mbumo, I'd be going long ball to that all day long. So it's just something to consider. How about we buy 2 left backs and Shaw is a left centre back from next season on? Don't mind that at all. I do not mind that at all. I think we need a few players down the left side of the pitch, so that is one way of doing it. Dorgu ain't a winger. Yeah, and he's not quite a fullback. That's the slight problem. That's the problem. Anyway, should we move on? Should we stick with the Premier League for now? I think we should. Gibbs White. Gibbs White is a player that I saw linked to the club last week and has been really good form recently. Sort of a 10, though. Sort of a 10. Do we really need him? Good player. Maybe if you were to sell Mason Mount, you need a backup to Bruno Fernandes, but does Gibbs White really want to be a backup? I don't think he does. So I think he goes in that Gordon category of clearly a good player. Might move in the summer if Forest go down, especially. But is he really what we need? I don't think he is. Right? Don't think he is. How many midfielders do we want to sign and who are they? How many do we need? 2 or 3? Who are they? Let's try and figure that out today. Stiller. This just isn't working today. Stiller. Stiller's a really interesting one. He is one that a lot of people like, but he's one of those where, I don't mean to be obnoxious here, but he's one of those, when I see him linked so much, I'm like, have people actually watched him? That's the sort of vibe I get from him. Like his numbers, his passing numbers and everything look insane. Clearly a gifted footballer, great eye for a pass and all of that, but he just doesn't do enough for me. Stiller, when I watch him, he's not someone who moves me. He's not someone that I watch and think, oh, that's what United need. You know, does he get in the team ahead of Kobbie Mainoo? No. I'd rather have Casemiro than Stiller. I know we don't have that option, but for me, you know, Stiller is in our first 3 choice midfielders next season. I'd feel a little bit uncertain about that, especially as we've got Kobbie as well, who physically is limited. Stiller is also a little bit physically limited. I just don't know that he does quite enough for me. Now, I understand there'll be people who haven't seen enough of him to comment, and that's absolutely fine as well. I think it'd be a good squad option, and I struggle to look... I don't really rate him currently any higher than that. Could be the first squad option, to be honest. Yeah, for example, if you went Anderson Tonali, and this sounds expensive, but Anderson Tonali, yes, still is probably quite a nice third choice player to come on and unlock a block. You know, certain games you need that type of profile. But if we were signing him and Anderson, just still an Anderson, I'd feel it is a little bit light. You know, it doesn't quite give me enough. So I think it'd be an okay player, but I can't go much higher than this. Hayden Hackney is one that I forgot to put in today. That is a good point. Definitely yes, vouched by Tony Cruz, but we'll need an energetic central midfielder to partner with. See, I just don't think we can sign another midfielder who we go, but they need an energetic partner. Because then we've got Cobby and Stiller, for example, and it's like, so what, we need 2-3 energetic midfielders just to get them to work? You know, I don't want to sign 2 midfielders that can never play together because they don't work. It doesn't make sense to me in terms of squad building. Yeah, I think Anderson to City looks like it will happen, but who knows? We can dream. We can dream. Maybe if Pep leaves in the summer, something like that. Thinking back to the previous stream and what we were lacking in, I don't see him adding to any of our needs, to be honest. Yeah, I think I agree. Edison. This was a midfielder that I thought was going to join the club, to be honest. If you rewind probably 18 months, I thought he was going to be coming in. We were linked with him pretty much every week under Ruben Amorim. I thought Edison was going to be joining. He's a good player. We've covered him before on the channel. Great energy, good ball winner, decent long passer as well. The change of system perhaps is what's seen some of those links and rumours go away. I also think he is now going to be much cheaper than what he would have been before. Sort of because some of the hype has died down a little bit. There's not as much talk. I don't know about his contract situation. What do we think? Is he one of those players that we now don't need because of the change in system? Or is he a player that would still bring a lot of value to this team? Maybe not as a starting player. Maybe not, you know, him and Cobby, I don't love it as a pivot. But as a squad option? You know, sign Anderson, Mateus Fernandes, Edison? That's bulked up your midfield quite a lot. My Ugarte replacement is Andre from Wolves. I haven't got Andre on here because I haven't seen any links. But Andre was a player that, yeah, I did a lot of videos back when he was at Fluminense. Good player. Really good player. Performed really well against Liverpool last week. Yeah, Andre's a nice footballer, and so is Gomez as well. Who will be the Ugarte replacement? See, I could see Edison being that, personally. That's where I could see him sort of shining. He does have some similar tendencies as well. He's almost a more physical version of Ugarte. So it almost does the same job description, but does it a little bit better. Is probably how I would describe it. Where should we go next? Let's go for a different position for something different to talk about. Let's go Somerville at West Ham. Really bright against United a few weeks back. Really, really good. Caused us a lot of problems. He just kept attacking Dalot, didn't he? And absolutely toasted him a few times. Recently been in talks with getting getting a call up to the Dutch squad ahead of the World Cup. What do we make of Somerville? Now, particularly with West Ham being threatened by relegation, I don't see him as an absolute sign-in. You know, he wouldn't be in my starting 11 at Manchester United, not week in, week out. But as sort of like a market opportunity if West Ham went down. I don't know what price point that would put him at. But he's a player that I'd be interested in. If you can get him really cheap. I don't want to pour water on the fire, but I don't think we will be able to offload Ugarte. I think like an Italian team or something will go after him is what I'm expecting. If we go massively on midfielders, then Somerville might be a cheaper option than like Diamande, for example. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The only concern I have is if you sign Somerville, do you need another world-class left winger? Still. I really like him as a squad option, but I almost think if you sign him, you need 2 left wingers. And then it makes squad building a little bit confusing. That's the complete wrong screen. I do apologise. You know, Sesko, Mbumo, Ahmad, Cunha. Let's put him there. You know, let's say we don't want to start Cunha on the left because we in that particular game don't get enough room, don't get enough width on the left-hand side. So we don't want to play Cunha that game. Would you feel comfortable starting Somerville? Do you feel that he's of the level that we need, or not so much? Would you be happy doing that? If that was Somerville, would you be happy or no? I'm not sure if I would be. Let's say against Newcastle, for example, we didn't have enough width in that game. Maybe Everton, one before. Everton game, we didn't have enough width down the left-hand side, so we take Cunha out of the team. Is Somerville good enough to be starting matches for Manchester United when next season, I don't want a title charge as such, but I want us to be close. I want us to be top 3 again, hopefully, but a bit closer in terms of points. I want us to be in the Champions League. Is he that level? Or, if you were to sign him, does Cunha, for example, become a striker option? And do you still need another winger to play ahead of him? Is a Somerville window a window where you need 2 left wingers? And if so, can we do that? Probably requires the sale of Xerxes to make it work, I would have thought. I can't get Xerxes. There we go. My mouse is dying today. I don't know why. Think you sign Somerville if he's only affordable option left and rotate him and Cunha for a season? Then get a new one next season and Cunha at 10. Yeah, I don't mind that. He just doesn't... Not quite, is he? Not quite for me. Doesn't quite do enough. Squad option? You know, I'd sign him if he could be backup. But nothing more than that, probably, is how I feel about it. Do you guys agree with that? Chelsea have a good young left winger for sale. Garnacho or something. Garnacho, something like that. He's overrated, mate. Njai will be better. All right, then let's have that conversation. Iliman Njai. Great player, isn't he? Yoga Benito. He's a lot of fun to watch. Really good dribbler. Very direct player. Likes to attack people. I think he's one of the best dribblers in the league, to be honest. I think he's one of the best there is. Which is something that United lack. We did that video the other day, and we lacked players that could keep the ball, that could create, but also that could dribble 1 versus 1. And Jai would go a long way to addressing that. Is he what Manchester United need? He's not a void. He's absolutely not a void. He's a very good player. He's also probably not quite inside him. My only question here is profile. I'll put the same question forward again as what we did with Somerville. We take Cunha out for a game because we don't want to start him. Is Njai the level of player that you want to start? Let's say we are playing a Champions League game midweek. Cunha's tired. He's just played against Arsenal at the weekend. We've now got a midweek game against Barcelona. Is Njai the level? Is he the level or not quite? Is he not too similar to Cunha left 10? I've seen people saying that. I don't think he's quite as restricted as what Cunha is. I think Cunha very much almost has to play inside most of the time. I do think Njai can do a little bit more. I think Njai can go wide. He can play both sides as well and do it. But I do still think, sort of instinctively, he wants to come in if possible, which is what makes me question it. If this was a pure touchline winger, he would maybe be top of my list for left wingers, being Premier League proven, the age he's at. He's probably the player that I'd be looking for. The fact, though, that I think he maybe just wants to drift inside is what makes me hesitate. Was it him or Cunha as opposed to both of them? Is my question. Because I don't want a left winger who's the same profile. I quite like that on the right-hand side, we've got Mbeumo and Ahmad, and we can pick and choose who we want for which game. I would like something similar on the left, where we can play more of an inside forward, or we can play more of a touchline winger. And I'm just not sure that Njai is quite that. He definitely improves the team. He does definitely improve the team. Should we put him up there for now? He's definitely not must sign because there's question marks, but he improves the team, doesn't he? He does. He does. Let's have a look at another left winger then. Let's go Barcola. Or Barcola. I see 2 different pronunciations and I'm not sure which one is correct. This guy can play football. This guy is dangerous. He is a thorn in the side type player. Just an absolute nuisance. Doesn't stop. Always in goal scoring opportunities. Misses quite a lot of them as well. to tell the truth, but just a seriously good player. And I think a player that is missing a lot of opportunities, weirdly, is someone worth looking at because it means they're getting into good positions regularly. The question is he going to have that step up in his finishing at some point? That's the question. Is he going to add that to his game? But he's a really good player. Really good player. I was watching him. He was at Lyon, wasn't he, before PSG? Right? He was part of that great Lyon team. Let me just double fact check that. But I'm very confident. Of course he was. What am I saying? Of course he was. Love that Lyon team. So many good players that were well worth a watch. It was Guimaraes. Kakare was in there as well. Barcola. Malo Gusto. A lot of good players in that PSG team. They were my favourite team on the planet at the time. And Barcola was definitely a big part of that. Sort of broke through a little bit later, but still a good player. Still a good player. We got Beef in the chat with the 24-month membership. Beef, good morning to you, mate. I hope you're well. 2 years of waffling. Agume, you seen the links recently, mate? If you've seen the links, Agume is being linked with a move to Manchester United. Big on him last summer. Was big on Agume last summer. We'll talk about him in just a second, actually, just for you, Beef. But thank you very much for the membership. As always, guys, you know what to do. Loads of love hearts for him. Improving finishing is easier than improving positioning. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people a little bit concerned, sort of like the way he controls his body with Barcola being a concern. Is he a bit erratic at times in the final third? A little bit like Bambi-esque? Maybe a little bit. Yildiz is a player I completely forgot to put on the list. He is someone that I forgot about. I haven't actually seen him linked, though, I don't think. Haven't seen him linked. Where does Barcola go here? Does he go sign him, or does he go definitely improves the team? Definitely improves. It's one of the top two. There's no doubt about that. He improves Manchester United Football Club. Is he absolute sign? I might hold him in... I might just hold him in definitely improves the team, just so I can watch a bit more before I commit to sign him. I've seen a lot more of Tonali, so it's easier to speak. Do you think he's the profile we need? Is he the type of player that we need? In terms of, again, we've been speaking about we need 1-versus-1 dribbling. We need players that can look after the ball, players that can link and create just as much as goal scoring. Do you think he's that sort of guy or not? I feel Barcola's game doesn't translate to the Premier League. What makes you say that? If he is available, he is an absolute sign. Yeah, I think he's a difficult player to get, but PSG have got so many good footballers, right, that you got to try on one of them. One of them might want to leave if they're not playing as much as they want to. Yes, dynamic, explosive. How about 1-versus-1? What do you think? Barcola, sort of 1-versus-1 against a fullback. And creativity as well. What do you reckon? He is literally that guy plus backline stretcher. He is so complete. People are high on Barcola, so we will have him up here. We'll put him inside him. This is a community thing. You guys want him. We'll put Barcola inside him. I'm more than happy to do that. All right, should we go to Agume just because Beef is here? He's here somewhere. I can't see him. Discuss. Beef, you say for that price. What is the price at the moment? Has there been sort of like a bit of news that he's available for blah, blah, blah? I want to say it was rumoured about like 20 mil last year. But I can't remember. Guys, try pressing the like button because apparently it just helped Steve to grow his chest hair. And who doesn't want that? So try pressing the like button. You need an Mbumo from the left, fast and lethal. But Barcola is still raw and unfinished, so he will likely struggle. See, I don't know if we do need an Mbumo from the left. I think we need more of an Ahmad from the left a little bit. But maybe a bit more established. Yeah, Agume, what do we reckon? What do we reckon? And I've realised something almost slightly flawed with this tier list. There could be a squad option that absolutely must be signed if they're that good an opportunity. For example, if this guy costs a tenner, you sign him even if he's a squad option. Just putting it out there. Yeah, Agume, what do we reckon? Agume would be an absolutely amazing third midfield signing. are middling on him as a second and definitely not as a first. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. I think I agree. Agume and Kobe, is that my starting midfield for next season? No. Not if we want to finish top 2, top 3. If we want to push in the Champions League, no, that's not my midfield too. As a backup, though, as an option to come in, I think he's lovely. I think he's a really nice option. And, I mean, I guess there's an argument that almost any central midfielder here definitely improves the team, because next summer, or after the summer, we have one central midfielder. Kobe Mainoo is the only footballer we'll have in midfield. So technically anyone improves the team. I think I like Agume as a squad option. I think he's a lovely player. If you sign him with 2 others, I think you've got yourself a great midfield. You've got a really... Him, Kobe, Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, just as an example. I really like it. I really like it. I wouldn't necessarily go, oh my god, you have to sign him, because there are other good squad options as well. Is sort of where I'm at. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. People seem to agree. Nice. All right. Let's go. What league do we want to dip into here? Should we stay in the Premier League for a moment and go to a different position? Let's. Van de Ven. This is one that will divide opinion, because he's got a reputation for being a great footballer, and Spurs are shit, which is quite funny. Will they go down? Maybe. It probably only happens if they go down, I think. You're probably, if you're Spurs, just about convincing with a project if you stay in the league. But if Spurs go down, Van de Ven is one that you've got to take a look at. Do you want him? Do you want him? For this, let's just assume they're relegated. Alright, because if they stay up, I don't think we'll get him. So imagine Spurs have been relegated, so he's available a little bit cheaper. Do you go and sign him or not? Now, the pros are the just insane athleticism, right? The fact that he is absolutely rapid, massive, strong, great channel defender. Defending transitions, he's amazing, isn't he? Defending a counter-attack, you want Van de Ven. But the 1v1s, the small space 1v1s, footwork not so good. A little bit more questionable defensively there. On the ball, is he an amazing passer? He carries well. We saw that. But is he an amazing passer? Injury record? You know, the reason I want a centre-back is because our ones get injured all the time. Van de Ven doesn't solve that problem. So, for me personally, I would avoid. Which sounds crazy because he is a good player. But I just think, De Ligt, injury problems. Maguire has had a pretty good season in terms of fitness, but is always a risk, isn't he? He does pick up those knocks, those hamstring problems. And then Lisandro Martinez, who has missed so much football in the past 3 years. Signing another injury-prone centre-back just feels daft, no matter how good he is. He could be the best centre-back in the world, but signing one that gets injured a lot just feels a little bit silly to me. So I'm probably putting him in a void. That's where I'm going. Right, stay in the Premier League. Tyler Adams. Now, I'll be real, he's not a player I know an awful lot about, but I have seen him at Portuguese League. Good last season. Really good last season. Has struggled to get going a bit this year, but he was a player who last summer I was, very much on. Wouldn't have minded that signing at all. Haven't seen him this season, though, I'll be honest. Haven't seen him this season. Van de Ven is one of those defenders that only looks great defensively because he is constantly making up for mistakes he makes. Similar to how Dorgu looks great getting back, but there's a reason he has to. Yeah, I think Kyle Walker towards the end of his City career as well, the last couple of years where he made more mistakes. That's sort of the vibe I get a little bit with Van de Ven, plus injury prone. Adams, not what we need, not an upgrade. I think that's fair. And I think he'd be more expensive than what some of the third choice would be. Ability-wise, level-wise, he's probably a great squad option, but I think he'd cost too much for that. Because Bournemouth are going to stay in the Premier League, so he's going to be difficult to go get. Let's put João Gomez into this conversation with Alex Scott as well. What other Premier League midfielders can we put in here? Let's put in Mateus Fernandes. Let's put in Amadou Onana. Any more Premier League midfielders? Baleba, Anderson, Wharton, but they probably deserve their own conversation. Falls into the same category as Agume, João Gomez, Andre. Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, what do we make of these guys? Now, one of them I got a strong opinion on. I like them all. I think they're all good footballers. I think they're all good players. I think Amadou Onana would be a lovely squad option. I don't want him as my starting central midfielder, I'll be honest. I think for the type of football that I'm hoping we eventually play, he's not the one. But as a squad option, I think it'd be fantastic. The question is price. Maybe he's definitely improves the team, actually. Onana. Yeah, I think that's where he goes. I think that's where he goes. Maybe you disagree. If you do, let me know. The injury problems are there, but I just think his profile is so unique. You know, we're going to lose Casemiro's height. I would quite like Onana. Exactly that, Steve. The presence in both boxes, really good. Scott is probably sort of not what we need at the moment, with the price and everything. Sort of goes directly in competition with Kobbie Mainoo. Is that what we need at this moment in time? Maybe as a squad option, but he's going to cost way more than what a squad option would. So you probably can't quite. Do we think Onana's too expensive for third choice? Do we think he's too expensive? Look at that, by the way. Steve Brooks in the chat with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. 5 of you who were not members before now are, simply because Steve is an absolute legend. Steve, thank you very much, as always. And guys, you know what to do. Love hearts all over the place to say thank you. Because that's quality. That is quality. Thank you very much. Onana, not for me. He might be tall, but he doesn't use his physicality enough. And he isn't a great passer. He is also often injured. I think he is an avoid. I get the injury point. His passing range, I think, is a little bit underrated. I think his long passing, in particular, is quite good. Very capable of a long switch. A good ball carrier as well. I do agree in terms of that short passing idea, which is why I wouldn't want him as my starting central midfielder. I just don't think he gives us enough on the ball. But I do think his profile, he's such a useful player to have. And he does improve the team. I think I'm going to keep him and improve the team personally. But I do get your point. And the injuries are definitely a concern. Definitely a concern. Matheus Fernandes is purely dependent on price. But I'd maybe have him as sign him. He would be one of my midfielders. And this isn't reactionary to his performances this season. Those that were here last summer will know that we were talking about him. After his performances for Southampton, he did really well. He had a great first year in the Premier League. Was playing a bit higher at the time. Become a bit more complete at West Ham this season. But this fella is someone that I would be signing if they go down. If they stay up, I think he becomes a £60 million player, which might be difficult for us to do. If they go down, I would not hesitate. Literally, the day they go down, I'd be phoning them and putting a bid in. I think he's a seriously good footballer. And in a world where I don't think we will get Elliot Anderson, to be honest, as much as I love him, I think he'll go to City. This is who I would be pivoting to instead. This is the player that I'd be going and getting. If you want to fix our midfield, Tonali, Fernandes and one more is a brilliant way of doing it. So I would like him. I would like him. I think he's fantastic. Really good player. Really good player. Impressive last night again in the FA Cup, if anyone saw it. Although you may not have done, because the FA Cup is now behind a paywall, which is good fun. Most of them. Anyway, that's where I'd have him. And then for Gomez, he's a great squad option, isn't he? He comes into this sort of bracket over here, and then there's the question of price. But for example, right, just bear with me here. If you could sign Tonali, Matheus Fernandes, we've got Kobbie Mainoo, and then you sign one of these squad option midfielders, you got yourself a really nice team there, haven't you? You've got a really nice midfield there that you can work with for a long time. Perhaps, though, you want another premium player in there. Maybe you want a Baleba or an Anderson or maybe an Adam Morton. Let's put Camavinga in the mix. I've seen rumours. Let's put Barrios in the mix. I've seen rumours. What do we think there? What do we think? Why is everyone so hell-bent on saying Elliot Anderson will go to City? There's been a lot of news that apparently sort of that's the move that he wants and City want to make the move. I also just think if you're a player right now, you've got the choice between the two clubs. You probably go to City. It's going to be more money at City than what United can offer. It is guaranteed Champions League football, whereas at the moment we don't know. You're going to win trophies, guaranteed, with City. With United, there's still a bit more uncertainty simply because of where we've been for the last decade. So that's the problem there. But yeah, if we could sign Anderson, I would love us to. He would be, you know, I said earlier, if Guimaraes was a few years younger, I'd go for him. That's sort of Elliot Anderson, to be honest. That's where I see him. I honestly don't think Camavinga is going to leave. Yeah, so the reason him and Barrios are in here is because Andy Mitten sort of suggested that maybe a Spanish midfielder might be moving to the club, or a Spanish league midfielder, I should say, might be coming to the club, and it's someone that would raise eyebrows, and I thought Camavinga would. So, yeah. Has to be 2 premium options in midfield. I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. Which of these guys do you want then? Baleba, Anderson, Wharton, Camavinga, Barrios, where do they go? Are any of them a void? Are any of them players that we don't need? Or are they all just fantastic? And are there any that are absolute certainties? For me, if we can, you assign Anderson. He's the first player you sign this summer. I don't know if we will. It might be unlikely. But if we have the opportunity, if it is possible, you go and sign Anderson. Anderson, Tonali, it's a dream, isn't it? It's an insane midfield at that point. Absolutely insane. Maybe unlikely, but if we can, we sign him. Thoughts on these guys? Now, I'm with you. Barrios is a player that I don't know so much about, to tell the truth. I'm planning on watching him this week against Spurs. But I don't know an awful lot about him currently. Wharton is really intriguing. Really, really intriguing because he is such a good footballer. In terms of his level, he is a sign him type quality. Left-footed, we don't have that. We don't have a left-footed midfielder, so Wharton would be amazing. His passing range is something that we don't have at Manchester United, especially if we lose Casemiro. But I said earlier, I don't really want another midfielder that we sign and go, great, but we need a blah, blah, blah next to them. I'm fed up of signing players like that, where we sign them and go, cool, but we need this player to unlock them. We've sort of already got Cobby, who's a bit like that. I don't know that we want another one. You know, can Wharton and Mainu work together? I don't think it can. I don't think it works. For some games, sure, against smaller teams, of course. But largely in the Premier League, I just don't think it works for me. So then you're signing a midfielder for a lot of money, Wharton, and you've got Cobby, who you want to use and keep developing. So you've got 2 midfielders now, but they can't play together. Is that worth it? Because it'd be a lot of money. The problem is, he is just incredible. His passing range is an absolute joke. I'm sure you saw the assists he got at the weekend. Just fantastic. But I sort of feel, as much as I love it, I can't explain how much I think this guy's brilliant. Like, he's got to be in the England squad in the summer. Absolutely. But I don't know if he's what Manchester United needs. I don't know if he's what we need at the club. Which sounds crazy. I wouldn't take Wharton unless Mainu gets an ACL injury celebrating his last-minute goal in the World Cup final. I would do anything, apart from the injury. For Cobby Mainu to score a World Cup winner this summer, that'd probably be the peak of my life. Like, it's downhill from there. It's downhill from there. You don't get better than that. Yeah, Wharton, I just think for his price, I don't want to spend loads and loads of money on a player that we then go, okay, now how do we get the best out of him? Or, okay, now we need someone to help him. I don't want to sign someone like that for £70 million. I just don't think we're in a position to do it. Not when we need so many. Maybe Mainu is a problem then, if you think he has such shortcomings that we have to be careful with who we partner him with. Yeah, that's why I'm of the opinion you get 2 premium midfielders, so Cobby doesn't necessarily start every single game. I think particularly at his age, he doesn't have to for starters, but he needs to be a player that we can take out when he doesn't suit a certain type of match, which is fine to have one of those in the squad because his ceiling is so great, but I don't know that you want 2 in the squad. Same way if we had Wharton right now, I'd maybe steer away from signing Cobby Mainu, even though he's clearly very good at football. It sort of works like that a little bit for me. I think we can go for 2 70 million signings and then 3 25 million signings of underrated ballers. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit more than 25 I think we'd need to spend in today's market, but yeah. Yeah, but Wharton does definitely improve us. But so does Gibbs White, and so does Anthony Gordon. They all improve us, but not necessarily what we need. So I think he's going to stay here. For the cost, I think he's too difficult to work into the team. So I think he's going to stay there. Barrios, I don't know a lot about, but you guys are saying, like, #1 option. I'm not going to put him in sign-in because I can't sort of vouch for him enough. But I'm going to put him in definitely improves the team just because of how you guys are how you guys are talking about him. Camavinga definitely improves the team. Would Camavinga go in to sign him for you guys? Left-footed. Would he go in to sign him for you guys? Same as Baleba, also left-footed. Who do you reckon? Who do you reckon? I think they're both gettable. Camavinga sounds weird, but Madrid have so many good players. They've got so many good central players, especially, that Camavinga has often been forced to play out of position at left-back. So he might want to move. He has complained a little bit. So maybe it's doable. Maybe. So would you take Camavinga? Would you take Baleba? And if so, where? Where? Camavinga, if we can sign him, I'd love him, to be honest. He's such a good player, isn't he? He is amazing, but is he what we need? Is he what we need? He is unbelievable at football. Can you imagine sort of Tonali and Camavinga are your two midfielders, and then, like, because we're playing so many games, hopefully 60 plus matches next season, Cobby's rotating with them constantly anyway. Yeah, the price maybe is the problem. Purely because of the price, does he go top of definitely improves the team? Maybe you can't necessarily go guaranteed sign him because he could cost like 120 million. Is that sort of what we're thinking? Camavinga as the Casemiro replacement? Hey, should we just farm Madrid midfielders? Should we just do it? And yeah, Baleba, what do we think? Definitely improves the team. Definitely improves the team. He does. There's no doubt about that. But has been concerning, his form this year. It has certainly dipped. Not to the extent that some people have said, in my opinion. I think sort of people went, oh, his form's dipped this year. And everyone's gone, terrible. Absolute shambles. I don't think he's been as bad as what people have made out, to be honest. But I don't think you can scream sign him either, because he's not producing, oh my god, sign him form at the moment. Has his price tag come down as a result? Maybe. We're only signing one big midfielder, don't get carried away. Yeah, let's make it clear, I don't think we're going to sign necessarily all of these guys. It'd be very expensive. But I'm just saying, for you, is he someone that you would definitely sign if we had the opportunity? Yeah. And then sort of where they are up here is the priority order. Baleba, but for what price? Yeah, I think he goes in and improves the team. Because his profile is a profile that we lack in the squad. The intensity off the ball, the physicality, the ground coverage, left-footed. He ticks so many boxes. But there is that question of price and mentality, perhaps. So I think we go there. I'm going to sneeze. There's about 3 realistic midfield options that would definitely be 100 mil minimum. So if he's put into that group and we get 2 of 4, I don't see the issue. That's fair. That's fair. Camavinga you're talking about, right? Or are you talking about Baleba? Might put Baleba up there. Just because the price sort of... If you can sign... I said Baleba, I meant Camavinga. If you can sign Camavinga, you probably do, don't you? You probably do. If you want to see a bit more of Camavinga, is he fit at the moment? I'm not sure. But I will be covering the Champions League tie between Real Madrid and Manchester City this week on the second channel. AJ Talks Tactics. So we'll be seeing a little bit of Camavinga there. Anyway, let's get through some of these guys because we are really running out of time on today's stream. We've got Manu Kone, great player. Javi Guerra, another really good, nice central midfielder. Mecha from Borussia Dortmund. Tall, strong, powerful, good midfielder. And then we've got Sangare, who I've spoken about quite a lot in recent weeks. And Lamine Camara, who I don't know quite as much about. But again, we've been linked. Are all of these sort of... They're all either fantastic squad option or definitely improves the team, right? None of them are quite, oh my god, sign him. Is that where we're at? Is that what we're feeling? No, I think Mecha definitely improves the team. That I have no doubt about. Sangare, I think, is a good player. I really like his profile. I think he's sort of like a cheaper alternative to Baleba a little bit. So he is another one that definitely improves the team. But if we're to sign 3 midfielders, I sort of wouldn't want him in my top 2. I'd want him to be the third choice one. So maybe he comes into that lovely pack of midfielders that we've got over here, Sangare. Kone is a really good player. Really, he's been a great player for a long time now, to be honest. For 4 or 5 years, he's looked like a lovely pickup for someone. Steve said there he's a dominant force in the midfield. He really is. There's been a little bit of uncertainty over his best position, sort of, throughout his career. I've seen him play as a 10, I've seen him play as a 6, I've seen him play as an 8, which sort of says versatility. But maybe he hasn't nailed one down. I haven't seen him this season, to be honest. But he's looked a great player every time I've watched him before. When he was breaking through at club back, I wanted him at United. He was a player that pretty sure I did a video on at some point. Love Kamara, but he would get absolutely ran through in the Premier League. Yeah, I really can't tell you much about him. So I'll leave that one to you guys to decide. Kone. You see, I'm trying to think. No, he definitely improves the team. He definitely improves the team. No doubt about that. Javi Guerra probably does as well. Is he top of squad? No, well. Indeedy, mate. Get yourself back down there, buddy. Sorry. Where does Guerra go? Good midfielder, really strong. Looks like a Premier League midfielder, if you know what I mean. A proper number 8. He's not going to go and sign him. He does definitely improve the team, but is he a squad option? I'm tempted to sort of go Guerra over here, Kamara in here because I don't know enough about him. That's Gibbs White. Why do these players keep jumping? I'm telling you, my mouse is dying or something. Kone is a squad option. I'll put him at the bottom of definitely improves the team is where I've gone for. And there is sort of levels to the game over here, right? Like Guimaraes improves the team more than anyone else. Then Hall. You guys have backed Barrios, so I'll let you have that one. Gibbs White was not what we need. Let's have a look through some of these then. Let's go some centre backs. Schlotterbeck, and Van Hecker, and Murillo I have seen that linked as well. What do we think of these guys? All very gifted players. Very gifted. And all really good ball players, to be honest. There's levels to this game. No, Schlotterbeck and Van Hecker are clearly the better ball player than Murillo. For me, Schlotterbeck has signed him. I just don't think it's going to be possible. Let me square it down. I want him in here. Yeah. Actually, yeah, Schlotterbeck has signed him, right? But I just don't know if we can. I don't know. Is he possible? Is it possible? I don't know. It would require probably selling the Sandro Martinez. So that's sort of up to you guys if you want to have that conversation or not. But yeah, he is. Schlotterbeck's a player that I'd be looking at. Van Hecker is one I'm really uncertain on. Really uncertain on. He definitely improves the team on the ball. Does he improve the team enough defensively? He's not a squad option. Absolutely not. It costs a lot of money, so he is someone that you will sign and you'll have to play him. Van Hecker for second and third choice. I just don't think you can for the price. I don't think you can be third choice for the price. What is our starting centre-back pair next season? That's a great question. It's probably not Harry Maguire, you wouldn't think. De Ligt, I have no idea about his fitness. Is De Ligt just going to be offloaded in the summer because we can't afford to pay a player that much to sit on the bench or the injury bench every week? Maybe. Yoro, Heaven, Sandro Martinez. Is there a trio there which makes sense as a starting centre-back there for next season? Probably not. I think he definitely improves the team, especially if we're thinking about the team in the summer. I think he definitely improves the team in there somewhere. And how about Murillo? Just sort of, my thought is not what we need. Similar issues to Sandro Martinez in terms of the height not being quite as good. Certainly more powerful though, a little bit stronger, better injury record. But I sort of see him as great player, not what we need. If we're replacing Sandro Martinez, you go for Schlotterbeck. If not, you don't replace him. Is sort of how I see it. Or you replace him with what we've got. Lenny Yoro moves to the left. That sort of idea. So that's where I'm at. Couple of wingers. Malik Fofana of Lyon, not linked so much recently, but linked a lot last year. Then we got Mane playing at Wolves, doing really well. And then, is it Diamande? Is that how you say his name? I'm not entirely sure. Playing for Leipzig and absolutely tearing it up. Tearing it up. Where are you putting him? Where are you putting him? What about Lukeba at Leipzig? The last I saw, I can't think what source it was, but sort of that we're not really interested in that anymore. We're not really interested in that move. So I'm not sure. If we're smart, we cut De Ligt loose. We cannot gamble with both him and Lisandro Martinez's injury records, and Lisandro is about 1,000,000 times more important for us than De Ligt. Yeah, I would let one of them go. I just don't know which one it would be. I think De Ligt's the better defender. Lisandro Martinez is the better player on the ball. I don't know which way you go with that. But I would let one of them go because we can't rely on them. Diamande, in my opinion, is a sign him. He has all the tools in his books to be the next great winger. I guess the question you've got to raise with him is £80 million, perhaps. I don't know, rough guess, £80 million. For a 19-year-old who sort of had one season at really flying in the Bundesliga, is it too much? Is it slightly too much for a player of his inexperience? Or is it one of those ones where at some point you've got to take a gamble? We can't just keep signing these safe Premier League proven players, right? You can't just keep doing it. Surely at some point you've got to go for that player who, it's a risk, it's a gamble, but if it goes right, he's going to carry your attack for the next however many years. Is he worth going for? Going to be so expensive for someone with 1 year of senior football. It scares me. Obviously, he looks unbelievable right now, but ... Yeah, it's that, isn't it? It is that. He's probably one which requires a bit more. He definitely improves the team. We don't have a left winger. He's probably one which requires a bit more watching before you go sign him, I think. We've been burned by Bundesliga wingers in the past. Yep. I think for me, he goes and definitely improves the team, and maybe like Barrios, you got to go watch him more. No, that's the wrong player. Well, now I'm lost. Where's he gone? I've completely lost it. Here he is. Like that, you got to watch him more before you go, oh my god, we need to sign him. For me, sign him is reserved for the players that you are convinced are what we need. And those guys at the top, you guys are convinced for Barcola. I am with the rest of them. Camavinga's a market opportunity, but if it's there, it's one you sign. Fofana and Mane then. Thoughts? Fofana for me maybe comes in at a Somerville sort of level, just below Somerville, with Somerville being Premier League proven. Mine is an interesting one, because I don't know if he's what we need. I don't know that if we're signing a winger that young, yeah, is he a winger is the first question. That is the first question. And again, if you're signing him, you probably need another one as well. Like what we said for Somerville, is just one winger in this case enough, or do you need two? You probably need two. So I'd borderline say it's not what we need this summer, which, I don't know, but it is a market opportunity. Diamande is so much better than Barcola. Yeah, I just simply haven't seen quite enough of him to make the comparison, personally. Mane is essentially another Cunha. Keep wing midfielders away from the club for the foreseeable future, please. Wingers only, thank you. See, that's my opinion. That was my conclusion from watching him last month, whenever it was. I sort of see him as not quite what we need right now. Even I want to say age profile, but then you got Diamande. But you know what I mean? Like, he's not that first choice winger. You wouldn't really want him starting anywhere near 30 matches. So we're probably just not in a position. If we could time travel, right, and go next summer, sign him at this current age, you'd probably do it. But where we are right now, I just don't think that you do. I don't think you do. And last player, Juff of West Ham, the left back. Very capable of absolutely whipping a ball into the box. Very, very good at firing crosses in. Benjamin Sesko in the box, nodding them in, would be beautiful. Where'd you put him? He's one of the top two. He definitely improves the team. Is he sign him level or not quite? Not quite. I don't think he's quite as technically gifted as what Lewis Hall is. But Lewis Hall, of course, had the injury concerns. Just a very powerful player, good running power. But it's that left foot. Honestly, on the overlap, him setting himself to cross, swinging it into the box is so good. So good. Doesn't seem to have the best football IQ defensively. Yeah, I don't think I would quite put him in sign him. I'd maybe put him in definitely improves the team. I think in terms of his intensity, he's naturally an upgrade on Luke Shaw. And he's a more natural left back than what Patrick Dorgu is. So I think he definitely improves the team, but maybe you can't quite go to sign him yet. Maybe you put him in here somewhere. Is that what we think? How do we feel about that? How do we feel about that for a tier list? Now, of course, by the way, Manchester United will not have this summer. We will not have this summer because we will not sign 4 central midfielders being Anderson, Tonali, Fernandes and Camavinga. It's not going to happen. But this is, if you had the choice to go and sign players that we've been linked with, these are the guys that would be top. Let's imagine Anderson doesn't sign for United. Those 5 plus like one more midfielder looks insane. It probably costs too much though, doesn't it? Sorry, not one more midfielder. A left back. It probably costs too much, but it does look insane. It does look insane. Like if you could bump Juff up, I don't even want to think about how much money that would cost. But that looks like an immense window, doesn't it? It looks like it really addresses a lot of our problems. A lot of our problems. Anderson is to sign him, though, for me, still. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Are we happy with that list? Again, sign him does not mean I think we're going to go and sign those 6 players. Looking at the 4 midfielders we've got there, though, if we get the opportunity, I would sign them, is what it means. Realistically, we won't get the opportunity on a lot of these players, and that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Are we happy with that? Are we happy with that tier list? Think Juff sits as a very comfortable, improves the team. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I agree with that. Mane just broke through in what, January? Yeah, exactly. He's just not ready to be United's senior winger, and I don't think we're in a position to recruit his age profile at this particular moment. I think last summer we did a great job of signing players that take us to the next level. We need another one of those summers. Beyond that, we can then start to be clever with, this 18-year-old looks good for squad depth or whatever. He's a nice project. For now, I think we need pretty much there. Absolutely ready. Steve, that is a great idea. Happy with this tier list, but if you guys want to see an updated version of this at the end of the season, make sure to head over to the Discord server, which is linked in the description of this stream. Head over to Discord and let me know some other players that you would like to see on the list in the future. If you want, someday we can do like a 2-hour version of this and we can go through hundreds of players, or we can do midfielders only, change the categories and do it like that. So if there are more players that you are interested in, then do let me know in comments on videos, comments right now, live in the chat, or you can head over to the Discord server to let me know. I'm quite happy with that. Naturally, there's maybe a couple I don't quite agree with, and you guys will feel the same. But that always happens in football because we're allowed to have opinions and we're allowed to disagree. I think generally speaking, this is pretty good though. Wharton's maybe the one who's been done the harshest, but it is just that question is that the profile that we need? I'm not sure. That's all it is. Nothing against him personally. He's a great player. Anyway, can you imagine those midfield signings, by the way? Get those 3 and poof, wow. We are laughing. It cost 250 mil or something, but we are laughing all the way to the Premier League title. Sorry, got distracted. Yes, I think that's everything that I wanted to discuss for today's stream. I want to thank you guys very much for getting involved. You guys have been very, very important for this one, as always. But yeah, we are now finished. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for gifted memberships. Thank you for renewal of memberships as well. Really do appreciate you guys. In terms of content, there should be videos every single day this week. We had one last night. Should be one tonight, tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night. Saturday should be a Villa preview video. And then Sunday should be coverage of the Villa game itself. In terms of live stream, Friday, 11 AM UK time. So the same time slot as this stream on Friday. Again, looking ahead to Villa. So that is the plan for content. There is plenty coming. We should also have 2 videos on the second channel this week, providing the Champions League games are any good and actually worth breaking down. But yeah, there should be plenty of content. You're going to see this face on your screen quite a lot this week. So if you don't like that, sorry, but you're going to have to deal with it. Because, yeah, it's just how it is. I will see you all very, very soon.